Now that we've set up our outline of our paper, we're going to set up our title block. First thing, give it a save. Okay, now what we want to do, this is our outline of our paper. Just like what we've done as we've drawn, we've come in a 1/4 inch and drawn the outline of the paper, right? Okay, so we're going to begin with lines also. So line, type in line, enter. Now start of line, as mentioned before, the snap, what that does is allows you to snap really quickly on those points. Now if you notice that if you're far enough out, what it's going to do is it's going to struggle to actually get into that 1/4 inch, because what we have on right now is that object snap end, and it's the further out it doesn't know what we want, it's snapping in, so some to the end point. What we need to do is actually zoom in a little bit. You can draw and then click here, click, and now we've got a line here. Now what I want you to recognize is that I am still on the guidelines layer. That's why it's still green. What we want to do is we want to be in the actual title block layer. So it's going to be orange. Now I only switched the layer. I didn't switch what this was. It doesn't know that I want to change that. So what we're going to do is we need to get into the properties of this particular object. And see, I'm just selecting it, clicking on and off of it. Up here along this toolbar, as you go across, there's a little rainbow circle right here. If you click on that, we get into properties. Now this is the general properties of our project. If I go back to the drawing and select this line, the line that we had just drawn, it's going to tell me all about that. It tells me that it's on layer, the display color, a few other things. If we wanted to get into details, we could click on that, and it tells you the length and some other dynamic things about it. What I want you to do from now, it's got it selected, we're going to change that. So click on this little arrow down, and now we can choose and put it on a specific layer. We're going to go to a title block, and then we can close that out, click off of it, and you'll notice that it's turned to your title block layer. And we can begin drawing around the outside of the paper. What we can do now is just begin line, enter, and since we have the end snap on, or even the snaps on, we can go over, click on the end of that line, kind of scroll up, and again you notice that I was too far zoomed out. I can't really zoom to that or snap to that one point. Remember, this grid is set up where each of these boxes are a 1/4 inch away, so I'm just going to go up. You can also verify down in the bottom left where you're at. We're a 1/4 inch away, and begin quickly just moving along over to the other side. This one will be a little easier because we're snapping to end. Okay, that's our outline of our paper right here. What we want to do down at the bottom is set up our title block, which is 3/8 of an inch. We're going to use a new command called copy. It's not like copy from like Word document. We're going to actually type it in, although Control C and Control V does work, but that doesn't give us the specific details that we want to use with the command copy that's embedded into this program. So type in copy up at the command prompt up here. Remember, as soon as you start typing, it recognizes that you want to key into the command prompt. Click on copy. Okay, now this is where it gets copy is a little bit kind of backwards in normal thinking, I suppose. What we want to do is we want to select the object. We're going to copy this line, this horizontal line, the first part of the title, the border that we had drawn, the orange line here. We're going to select that, turns yellow, and then it goes into more. It says select objects to copy, press enter when done. We don't want to select anything else at this point, so we're going to press enter. We're not really done with the command, but we're done selecting. Press enter. Okay, now this is where it can be a little bit confusing. It says point to copy from. This is a reference point. We can give it a specific location somewhere along the line or a random location. I'm going to turn off my snaps. I prefer not actually using them. So what we're going to do is, this is going to be we're going to have to take some practice on this. But when I pick somewhere out in the middle of the title block area, what it's going to do is it's going to start, you can see that it's selecting a copy of that line, and it's attached relatively the same distance away from where I started to pick. Now, just like drawing a line, it says point to copy to. This is like giving it a direction, or similar to when you're drawing. We want to go up. We want to copy this piece up, this line up 3/8 of an inch. Now at this point we can type that in, 3/8. Hit enter. Now what it's done is it's limited. No matter how far out I drag my cursor or around the radius of that point, it will always restrict it to 3/8 of an inch. You can see that it'll do it in every direction. Now we want to go directly up, or straight up 90 degrees. So I'm going to hold my shift, and what it'll do is it'll snap to that 90. It'll also snap horizontally, which we don't, or down, in any 90 degrees. We're going to hold that snap, and what I can do, no matter how far away, I can left click, and what it does is it places that line there. Now we can continue if I wanted to add in, or if I just wanted to keep selecting things and picking points. So I've just copied a whole bunch of things, lines that I don't really need. I can hit escape. This is going to get me out of the command, or enter. I'll get rid of these. You hopefully don't have those, and then I can just select it, hit my delete button, and they're gone. Okay, now what we have are the area for our title block. What I'm going to do is use a different command called offset. Now realistically we could use copy to do the same thing, but just so you get familiar with offset and copy kind of function the same way, but have slightly different applications, especially when you get into circles. When we do that later, we'll use offset more often, but I want you to be familiar with it. So for now, we're going to copy this, or actually offset this line over, because what we want to do is we want to move that over, or we could give it a specific location and draw the line, but I want you to practice offset. Type in offset as all one word, enter. Okay, now what it says is select curve to offset. Offset means basically copying it a certain direction, but it only goes parallel to itself. Okay, so we want to give it a specific dimension or distance. What we want to do is go over 3 distance. We're going to click on that, and now it says offset distance. We want to go over 3 inches. Hit enter. Okay, now it's only done is change that. We're still in the command. Select curve. We want to select this curve, the left side, and now what you've seen is that there is a line. What it's going to do is it's going to place a copy of this yellow line that we selected exactly 3 inches either to the side, to either side of it, which is right or left. If I click to the right side of it, it's going to copy it over. Okay. If I hit enter, what enter does is it repeats the last command, which happened to be offset. If you get familiar, or if you get more comfortable using that, you can kind of cruise through your commands much quicker. Select curve to offset. We're going to repeat this, but what we're going to do is offset the line that we had just done. And when I select it, it automatically puts that 3-inch dimension that it can offset. And then I can pick to the right side, and now it's just offset it again. So now I have those spaces. If I right click or enter, same thing, it gives me the same command, repeats the last command. The distance I'm going to change to 2 this time. Okay, so before I've selected anything, I've changed the distance to 2. Select curve. We're going to select the one that we just did. Go to the right, right click, left click, right or left click again, and so I've got these lines already set up kind of quickly. Now you can see obviously that they're a little bit too long. What we'll do now is we're going to use the command trim. Trim is going to cut these things down to the right length. Okay, so type in trim, enter, select object, or select cutting object. This is kind of, again, backwards to what we're thinking. What cutting object is we want to cut this object, but we want to use an object to cut. What that means is I want everything to cut back to this line, this horizontal line at the top of the title block. So I'm going to select that. That's my cutting line. And we can do more of them, but this is the only one that we need to use right now. So we're going to hit enter. Now what we want to do here is select the object to trim. Now we have 4 of those lines. You can do them, just pick it. What it does is it cuts it exactly back to where those intersect. Now if I wanted to cut underneath it, I could click here, and we're back and forth there. Obviously that's not right. Control Z will undo the commands. I can continue with trim. I'm going to pick here, pick here, pick here, and done. So hit enter, and I'm done with the command. Now my title block is all set. I want you to save and continue with text.